Hey, Kevin Belby here with YNGI Getting It Joined today by Matt Friend, social media manager for Disney, and we're actually here in Disneyland out in California. Actually, this is Disney California Adventures would be the technical name, but right across Route 66 here in Cars Land would be Disneyland. And I gotta say, Matt, a special thank you to you because when I heard you speak at Syracuse a couple months ago for the SUPRSSA group, which was Meg Corbett, I think, brought you to campus, you kind of inspired me to build my social media presence and start this blog, so I want to thank you for that. But let's get into it. My first question for you is, how do you personally define success?
For me, success is happiness, and so as long as you do what makes you happy and you do what you love, then you're successful. You can be successful if you make no money at all in a year. You can be successful if you make millions of dollars a year. It just really comes down to what makes you happy. So people ask me now, are you successful? And I say yes. They ask me if I was 16, if I was successful. I say yes, because I was happy and I was doing what I loved then. So as long as I follow that path, make sure that I'm happy, my family's happy, I'm guaranteed success for sure.
I think that's a great definition, and we got to excuse the shade. First of all, it's about, I don't know how hot it is, but it's hot out here in California. I'm not used to this heat, being a Jersey boy, and also we got the cars going on in the background, but it's a great ride. Okay, so what is your job like as social media manager at Disney? It sounds so fascinating, and I'm sure people would love to know what you do.
Yeah, so I pretty much have the coolest job in the world. So I basically
sounds like
tweet and Facebook all day from Disneyland, which is pretty cool. So I run the first ever social media command center for the Walt Disney Company that's based here in California, and we basically have a group of about 8 of us that monitor social media around the clock and analyze trends, figure out what people are talking about, and engage with guests while they're in the park. So if guests have questions, if they're talking about coming to the park, or after they left the park, or they're actually here, we're engaging with them through social media, telling them the types of things that they can do, giving them tips, and just giving them that Disney magic through social media.
I should have tweeted at you guys earlier. I was looking for a great lunch spot, but I found one, of course. So Disney is so unique, I think, in everything they do, and they really find a way to stay ahead of the curve. Now, I think it'd be unfair to ask you how Disney stays ahead of the curve because it's such a broad question, but how do you try and do that socially?
I think one of the biggest advantages that Disney has is the strength of a brand. I mean, everyone knows Disney, and they have a personal connection with that name, Disney, and you know, as soon as you say I work for Disney, it takes them back to the first time they met, Snow White or something. They just automatically triggers a memory, and it's usually a positive one. So, how do you utilize that strong brand with something like as new, like social media? So, really offering guests the opportunity to be around that Disney magic is so key. So we, a part of listening through social media, we really look for great opportunities to make a difference in the park. So if someone's celebrating a birthday, or if we have a child who just got out of Children's Hospital and has been at Disneyland for the first time, can we surprise them in the park and do something special for them that only Disney can do? And the answer is yes, and we can do those types of things as long as we're listening through social media. We have a great advantage to doing stuff like that.
That's awesome, and this is going to show my soft side. I don't know if I should be saying this, but one of my favorite videos on YouTube is this guy who did a ginormous wedding proposal and then a wedding in the Disney parks. I don't know if that was here in California or in Florida, but it's a very cool video. So I don't think this would be a good interview if I didn't bring Twitter into it, and we actually have a Twitter question from @CPCroc. Wants to know, what advice do you have for young people trying to find an identity and build a brand?
I think the biggest thing for building a brand, a personal brand especially, is consistency. Making sure that you are the best possible version of yourself consistently. I always give the analogy of living every day like you're on a first date, because at that moment on a first date, you are the best possible version of yourself at all times. All of those skeletons in your closets, all the things that's wrong with you, you kind of push aside and you just project all the amazing things about you, the amazing qualities. And that's what you have to do for your personal brand, and consistently put those things out there, because especially now with social media, perception is reality, and what people see, that's what people think. And so as long as you're the best possible version of yourself and you're portraying that consistently, that's what your brand will be.
I think the consistent part that you mentioned is important, because if you want to find success in a career, today it's not often. It's not just working hard in the 9 to 5. It's really got to be a lifestyle. Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'm never not working. You know, I'm either working at my actual job, or I'm working at building my brand, or I'm working at, you know, building my success. And it's just, all of those things are tied together, and it's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week,
right.
And it never stops. If you do stop, then you're not working hard enough, you know. And so, and especially now, because you're going to be tied to your phones, everyone's on their iPhones and their smartphones. I mean, you really can't get away from the possibility and the potential to brand yourself and monitor everything that's happening. So it's key to make sure you're on it at all times.
We got a friend coming through right now. How we doing? Next, only in Disney, right? All right. So let's say someone says, all right, well, what you do is awesome. I want to be a social media manager, or I want to make social media a career. Well, there are those out there that say in 5 to 10 years, these jobs won't be available. But something that you talked about back when I heard you speak at Syracuse was, you know, your dream job doesn't exist right now. Can you kind of talk about that? And I hate saying, can you talk about that? But it really is. I really want you to expand on that.
Yeah, so I mean, this job didn't exist, you know, 2 years ago. A majority of the jobs centered around digital marketing and social media didn't exist at all 5 years ago. And so as we look to the future, guaranteed a majority of the jobs that will be of interest don't exist yet. And that's fascinating. That's amazing, because it means that being young and being so knowledgeable in these new age technologies and then the different industries is a benefit that you have, because once you get past a certain point in your career, it's really hard to kind of backtrack and gain that knowledge. So that's why you see a lot of younger professionals being successful in the social media realms, because they've grown up with it, they've lived with it, and they know how to best adapt to the business world using social media. And it's you know, so key to you know, really stay on your game and stay sharp in the different things that are happening around the technologies. And if you want a career in social media, make sure you're good in social media in your personal life. You know, it's basically just a reflection of how you are in your social life, your personal life. If you're good there, chances are you could be good in professional setting. First thing I do when I look for someone to hire on our team is I look at their personal accounts. Are they using social media correctly personally? If not, how can I imagine that they would use it successfully in a business setting? So that's really key.
What would be your advice to someone who thinks they have it all figured out, have it all going for them? Like so many young college graduates think that they do.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good and bad thing. It's good to have that confidence, that you have that drive to succeed. You have to have that, but you also have to have a sense of humility as well. A big thing that I see with a lot of the young professionals, the millennials, is a sense of entitlement, which again can be good when used in moderation, but a majority of the time it's a sense of entitlement that really gets you in trouble, because you know, you're not entitled to anything. You're going to have to work your butt off in order to succeed in the world, especially now, when guaranteed, if you think you're the best at something, guaranteed there's somebody who's better than you, and chances are they're applying for that exact job. So you have to really figure out how to separate yourself in different ways and diversify your talents, and you really can't rest on your laurels, because if you do, you're dead in the water.
My next question would be, again, I keep bringing it up, but when I heard you speak at Syracuse, you said that anyone could change the world. Why do you think that?
Because it's true, and it's so cool to think it too. I mean, with social media, with internet the way it is, and with literally the ability to develop a groundbreaking company in your basement or your garage. You see all these success stories of Steve Jobs and Bill Gates and you know, all the different you know, Biz Stone of Twitter. I mean, all of these guys that have done amazing things just because they had an idea, and they just went out and tried to do it because that's what they thought the world needed at that time. and to think that that's a possibility is amazing. And you kind of have to think that way, I think, too, to be really successful. You know, if you want to change the world, you can. You just have to try. And a lot of people just don't think that big on things. They think, okay, well, you know, I'll just tackle this little small thing, and that'll be my version of success. And that's good, and you want to take things step by step. But I mean, if you really want to, you know, reach for the stars, I mean, the only way to do it is by actually reaching for the stars. So it's as long as you have that in the back of your mind that you can change the world, without a doubt you can make it 10.
All right, and where will Matt Prince be in 5 years?
Oh man, the heavy question. I mean,
finale. The fireworks at the end of the night at Disney.
In 5 years, I really don't know. I didn't think I'd be here in 5 years. You know, my career path has been kind of an interesting one, from, you know, just communications and events to speech writing to social media. I do a pretty good job of not trying to define my path of where it goes, because I think if you do define your path, you're going to be stuck to going down a certain direction that you maybe not, you know, maybe won't choose. So if I know, you know, for sure in 5 years I'm going to be in digital marketing for this company, an opportunity could come up in 2 years, and because that was my original plan, I'm not going to take that opportunity because I don't feel it takes me that direction. So I try to live life pretty flexible, in a flexible way, and try to take things as they come. But I think I would love to run my own firm at some point in my career, and really bring on a team of creative people and really just do some really creative things that haven't been done in a PR marketing type of facet. But in 5 years, I mean, who knows what kind of technologies are going to be out there and what different platforms are going to be out there. So learning to adapt and move with those trends is how hopefully I'll see my career going.
All right, actually, I do have one final question. I can't let you get away without asking this one. Who's your favorite Disney character?
Oh, that's a good question. I get this all the time. My favorite Disney character is Stitch from Lilo and Stitch.
All right, that's a good one.
Because one, I feel like he never gets any love, you know, from people. He's never like anyone's favorite. He's, I mean, he's mischievous. He's just kind of all over the place, and he's all about family too. So, which is great. Which is pretty much me in a nutshell. So it's cool.
Well, I do have to give a shout out to my favorite Disney character. That would be Buzz Lightyear. I don't know if you can see my cool hat we got going on over here. But Matt, I really just want to thank you again for joining me. It was a pleasure. Thank you for inspiring me to start this blog. And but we got to run. We're going to jump on these cars behind us and go racing, maybe on the Tower of Terror, depending on how brave we feel. But Matt, thanks again.
Thank you.
For Matt Prince, I'm Kevin Belby.